Welcome to the PNFL. Hope you guys had a great holiday. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and as usual, we got the two good co-hosts with me, Mitch Grawl and Dean Chambers. Happy post-Thanksgiving, gentlemen.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. So, how did you guys' holiday go? Let's start off with that. How was your holiday?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, it was really good. Lots of football, as always.
Of course, you got to have the football. You know that. And we had some good games here this week in our league as well. The headless horseman went down, so we're going to touch on that a little bit. But before we get started, speaking of Denver, we'd like to welcome our new coach that is taking over Denver, Neil Santos. He's posted on the forum and in the general section. So if you guys get a chance, send out a nice little hello to him and welcome him to the league.
The not so headless horseman anymore.
The not so headless horseman anymore. Hey, I can take that. I can run with that one. We can go there.
I was thinking after this game, after the Chargers beat the headless horseman, I was thinking every other team looks at what Steve did and figures this out. The headless horseman may be finished for the season, but now that we have someone coaching the team, that might be different.
It might be different. You never know. You never know. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the games real quick. And actually, we are going to start with the Denver game. Starting off with Denver, it was LA that went into Denver to play them, and LA walked away with the win, 28-23. We're going to start with you on this one, Dean.
Yeah, I said I was going to keep picking the headless horseman until someone proved otherwise, and Steve actually got that job done this week and beat them 28-23. If I remember right from watching the game, that I think, if I remember right, Steve's team got a bit ahead early on, and then they kind of traded scores, and the Chargers ended up coming out ahead. I believe they scored the last score. You look at the stats; it's pretty close. I mean, closer than that 428 to 271 in the yardage looks like.
Right.
And it's I think one of the big factors there is the Chargers went 7 of 14 on third downs. That helps quite a lot.
Yep, that definitely helps out. So
time of possession was close, but they got the job done. They finally dethroned the headless horseman who'd been
terrorizing everybody.
Yep.
Mitch, your take.
Well, lead pipe law curse is broken. So congratulations to the Chargers, and gave Trubisky his worst game of the season, I believe. So hopefully we'll see Denver see what they do with their new coach.
Yep, most definitely. All right, moving on to the next game, we have New York Giants going into Washington, and they happen to walk away with a win by 6 and taking that one 23-7. Oh, not sorry, am I saying 6? Yeah, 6. 23-17. Mitch, let's start you off with that one.
Well, it was a good game when a kicker wins player of the game. Let's just start there. Congratulations, Andrew Mevis, for the Giants. But another rain game in Washington. I don't know what in the world is going on with Jerry and the rain, but he can't escape it. And it's almost it's the sign of death. If you see the rain, then it's whoever they're playing. Washington seems to find a way to lose, and this was no different. But you never know what you're going to get from the Giants, man. One week they're on, the next week they disappear into the Bermuda Triangle. So we'll see what happens with them going forward.
Okay, Dean.
Yeah, I know when I saw that it was raining in this game that the Giants would have a chance of winning, and they pulled it off. They managed to outscore Jerry's Redskins and win this game.
Yep, definitely. We'll see which team shows up from Washington next week, this coming week. So, next game we have is Green Bay going into Chicago, and Green Bay taking that game 17-13. Dean.
Yeah, this was a big surprise. I mean, I had even picked Chicago to win and cover the spread. And again, which Green Bay team shows up? The one that wins or the one that doesn't look very good? And they definitely looked good, and they pulled off the upset here. And again, this is a big surprise for me, but I think it illustrates a lot of what we're going to be discussing in the second segment of the show.
Definitely.
All in the league.
Yep. Mitch.
Yeah, well, it was a tale of two halves. The first half, Chicago really just dominated this game, and if it wasn't for some ill-timed turnovers, really should have had a much larger lead going in the half. But in the second half, Green Bay really turned it on, and had some big third down completions, and somehow or another, a guy who gained 5 total combined yards, one player of the game. So go figure.
Yep, go figure. Next game, Detroit hosting Anaheim, and they just rolled over them, 38-8. Mitch.
Well, I tell you, I still believe in the Rams. I still think they're going to be a big player in this NFC playoff hunt. But, oh boy, not so good. I think they might have had a little extra. But, Detroit, I mean, it was Thanksgiving weekend. We know Detroit always plays their best on Thanksgiving. I mean, so we shouldn't have been too surprised here. But, congratulations to Detroit.
Yep. Dean.
Yeah, I think this thing that stands most for me in this game, and again, this was another surprise, is Detroit had 54% on third down efficiency. That makes a big difference. Anaheim was only 36. This was not one of Joshua Dobbs' better performances either.
Yep, I agree. He could definitely do much better on that one. Most definitely. Next game, Jacksonville hosting Indianapolis, and they ended up taking that one. Indy ended up taking that game 31-28. Dean.
Yeah, this is one game where, as I remember, they went back and forth in scoring, and this could have gone either way. So it ended up being the margin of a field goal difference. And I think I expected actually, I believe this is a pick'em game, and I picked Indianapolis to win, so they won by a field goal. So that was about right. One of the few games that actually went as expected in a week when we had a lot of upsets.
Yep. Mitch.
Well, I tell you what, Indianapolis with Kyle Allen at the helm, 3-2, and he didn't have necessarily a lights out game, but he was efficient, and that helped lead to that victory. So interesting to see what happens the second half of this season with them.
Exactly. Next game, New England going into Oakland, and Oakland taking that one by a field goal, 24-21. We're going to go ahead and let Dean take this one, starting off with this one. Then we'll go with the coach. So, Dean.
Yeah, this is a game where I picked Oakland to win and cover the spread. And New England was surprisingly much stronger than I expected them to be. And this game ended up being very close. And surprising thing that makes it even surprising, it was close. New England was 0 of 6 on third downs. If they'd completed some third downs, they probably could have won this game.
Yep, I agree. So we'll talk with the coach, Mitch. What happened?
Well, what happened was I outgained New England by almost double, and held the ball for almost twice as many minutes as New England. but yet somehow, only won by 3. I will say it was a 10-point game with under a minute to go, and New England was able to get a late touchdown to make it a little bit closer than what it out there. But I will say the first half was an absolute dogfight from a score standpoint, even though yardage wise, obviously there was a big difference there. But I'm sure New England's going to continue to do good things here in the second half of the year.
Yep, definitely. I guess this next one's going to be an upset, and definitely an upset. Minnesota went into New York to play the Jets, and 31-7 over the Jets. Mitch, start off.
Well, this is back-to-back weeks for New York where they were unable to get a victory, which you rarely see, and you definitely, rarely ever, never see them get lose, by by this margin. Minnesota showed up, and we've been waiting for Minnesota to show up, and they definitely showed up this week. And so, congratulations there to Coach McDermott.
All right, Dean.
Yeah, this game was probably one of the most shocking of the week. I mean, as I sat there and watched the game, and it was clear early on that Minnesota had showed up and was going to be tough, and they took a lead on the Jets, and then they expanded that lead, and then I'm thinking the Jets are going to come back and make this close. The Jets are going to come back. The Jets are going to come back. The Jets comeback never happened. The game ended, and the Jets comeback had not happened. It's really surprised me how well Minnesota dominated this game. I mean, look at the stats: 476 to 192 total yards. Who early, other than this game, who has held the Jets to 192 yards in total offense? This is 8 yards of rushing.
Agreed.
Any of our teams get 192 yards total offense and 8 yards of rushing are not going to win. Even the Jets.
I agree. I did not see that one coming at all. So, moving on. Let's see. What else? Who else do we have on here as we are running through this list? We are just jumping through all of this. So, we're coming up to the last 2 games here. We're going to start off with the 2 overtime games. One of them is San Francisco playing against the Saints, and the Saints ended up taking that one in overtime, 37-31. We're going to start off. We'll start off with you on this one, Mitch.
Man, I tell you what, you talk about an even game. Definitely one that was nip and tuck all the way through. Stats wise, seems to be almost identical. And New Orleans, that sneaky good New Orleans team stopped that San Francisco run. Yeah, San Francisco had won, I think, 4 in a row, and maybe 5 in a row. I mean, they'd been on a streak, and New Orleans said, "Not today." And so, congratulations to Coach Perez.
Yep, Dean.
Yeah, once again, I had picked the 49ers to win this game, but the Saints took them overtime and then won the game in overtime, and the yards, the total yards are fairly close. The time of possession is fairly close. It was just even all around. The overtime was the difference.
Yeah, definitely. Overtime was the difference that takes it. I mean, I think what I saw in that game is the overtime is like whoever gets that. With both of these teams evenly matched up, it was like, okay, whoever gets the ball, I'm thinking they're just gonna take it down the field and win the game and be done. But definitely was a great game, one that I really sat back and enjoyed watching. Coming up to the last one, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it this time. It was Seattle going down to Atlanta, and it was another overtime game. I think it's safe to say that was a battle going back and forth, and Atlanta ended up taking this one in overtime, 30-24. So what we're going to do, we're going to have Mitch start this one off, Then the losing coach will speak, and then the winning coach will wrap it up. So we'll start with you, Mitch.
All right. Well, I will say after the first drive, I thought Seattle was going to dominate this game. The Seattle went right down the field and put it in the end zone. But I tell you what a back and forth matchup. Lots of efficient passing for both teams out there. A couple of 100-yard rushers, and it was a fun game to watch. I'll just leave it at that.
Yep. What I will say is that I will concur with you. I thought after that first drive, I was like, okay, it's on, and managed to stop him, stop Atlanta, and then happened to go down there again. And I'm like, okay, we're rolling. Things are looking good. But as it went on, that back and forth, and Atlanta came back and scored, put some points up. Those passes in the slot just ate my lunch up, and then he mixed in the running. So it was a good blend of both. So definitely kept the team off balance. And I will say, just like with the previous game, I figured when it went into overtime, as I was watching it, and I'm thinking, if this goes to overtime with the way that both teams are moving the ball, I figured whoever won the coin toss was going to win the game. It would have been a couple plays going down the field, and maybe the defense would slow them up and kick a field goal and win, or would go down there and get the touchdown. And in this case, Atlanta got the touchdown. So I really wanted this win. I thought we were going to take it, but it was a good game, but definitely disappointed again with the defense. So, but yeah, I would say this was a good game. Dean, what do you have to take on that one?
Well, I think there's room for both of us to be disappointed with the defense here. Going into this game, I thought your team was 3-5, mine was 4-4, and given the pictures in both conferences, we both needed this game equally as bad. We both really needed to win this game. So I knew that regardless of which one of us lost or won this game, one of us would definitely be disappointed in that result. And, I can understand that. And I've been on the other side of that many times and been that team that lost a game like this. Mm-hmm. Now, as I watched the game, I thought the same thing you two did. When Seattle scored that first touchdown, I thought, okay, this is going to be a long game. And once again, my defense is giving up points, and we'll see what my offense does. And, early in the game, my offense wasn't looking very good either. I thought this is going to be a long game. And as the game went on and my team stayed in it and kept it close, it looked to me like Seattle was playing much better, but I thought, how is my team still somehow in this and has a chance? It looks like Seattle's playing much better. And in that last possession in the fourth quarter, I was hoping my team would score a touchdown and believe it would have put the score at 28-24, but had to settle for the field goal and go into overtime. And when it went into overtime, I thought whichever team, just like you thought, whichever team actually got the ball would probably march upfield and score. So I almost felt like, not that it was won, but it was much more likely when I saw that my team won the coin toss. I thought, okay, now the offense needs to get the job done and score here, because I figured if the offense didn't score, who knows what, the two teams could, trade possessions, and, you could even have a situation where neither team scores and you end up with a tie, because we've seen that happen in some games too.
Yep, definitely. So, but yeah, overall, that was a great game. Tough loss for me, but I have to agree with you. I figured whoever was going to win the coin toss was going to take the game, and sure enough, Atlanta did. So that wraps up our weekly games, and we're going to move into our middle segment. And this was something that we discussed pre-show, and this kind of comes up to what we talked about the games as we were reviewing them, about the parity in the league as far as how close the games are. I think in previous seasons, I guess you've been in the league longer than me. Usually about this point, you would see some teams that were just clearly blowing teams out, and you knew they had their position locked or close to having it locked. I think one of the best examples are the Jets. They're known for at this stage they're 9-0 or 8-1 or somewhere up in that upper echelon area that they just knew that, hey, we got this. We can just kind of cruise a little bit. But this time it seems like everything's much, much closer. So you can kind of kick this ball around a little bit and get your guys' opinion on it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start with Dean on this one, since that was something that you had mentioned. So you want to go ahead and talk on that and then pass it on over to Mitch?
When I played the Jets early this season and lost, I thought, who's going to beat the Jets? Are they going to go 16-0 or are they going to go 14-2, maybe lose a couple games? But I thought, who's going to figure out how to beat them? And, even Chicago was looking pretty strong too. But as we can see, there's a high level of parity in the league. 17 of 18 teams have between 3 and 6 wins, and 13 of the 18 teams have between 4 and 6 wins. We see the best teams all have 3 losses in every single division. The best teams are 6-3. There's no 7-2, no 8-1, no 9-0. And there's only one team that has a 2-7 record. So everyone else has at least 3 wins. It's much more competitive than expected. And I think it may be more competitive now than it's been in quite some time. I mean, it really is through most of the league, that situation they say on any given Sunday that a team can win. And I think we're definitely seeing that every week. And I think what's producing it, the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of upsets in the games. I mean, depending on how you define them, by my definition, there were 6 upsets in week 9 games, 6 out of 9. And there were probably almost as many upsets in week 8. So we've seen a lot of upsets, and that's what's, I think, driving this level of parity that we're seeing.
Okay, Mitch, your take.
Here's my take. My take is that this season is a lot of fun, and even teams that are under 500 right now, and ones that I've played that are under 500. I don't know how many hours folks spend preparing for this stuff, and it might be throwing spaghetti at a wall, but you could tell that there are more teams that are putting more effort in, I guess, if you will, into some of their preparation and game planning, just based on some of the changes you see during the game from some of the practice research and things that I do. And so I think that's cool. It's not that I like to lose, but you know what? Sometimes when you're playing and you know that, hey, there's a possibility that you might lose, gives you that little extra juice a little bit to play, where if you're like, all right, well, I'll walk through this schedule until I play, certain teams, you might not put as much energy into it, but I like it. It's fun. And I tell you, what is interesting to see is there are definitely, it seems like this year more than some others, so definite styles that are starting to peek through with some certain teams, ones where, maybe we're starting to see a little more balance on offense and more defense come through and whatnot. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. And I think if we can continue to keep folks engaged, and people put the energy into it. Again, I'm not advocating that folks spend 40 hours a week prepping and game planning and stuff, but hey, if whatever you all are doing out there, keep doing it, because it is becoming more competitive. And just because you're under 500 right now, the way this thing's going, I think we could see multiple 8-8 teams in the playoffs. So anyway, those are a few of my thoughts there, Mark.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Go ahead, Dean.
I think you're right. With as many upset losses as we've seen this season, I hope we're not seeing too much ketchup being splattered on walls in various places.
Yeah, I can agree with that, or things being thrown at your screen. So
Yeah.
I know one particular coach in the Midwest that almost did that. So not going to
Yeah.
say who it was.
Yeah,
But
yeah, preparation, and if they put all the play names in a hat and start drawing, names to go in their game plan or something.
yeah, that could be one topic we could talk about. As far as the game prep and how coaches go about doing the prep. That could be something to discuss as well in future shows.
Actually, I think Seattle, you should do that with your defensive
Oh,
defensive game plan.
yeah. Hey, I'm looking for a defensive coordinator with some good defensive plays. So if anyone's out there, let me know. Because last season, the defense was good. The offense needed work. This season, the offense is good. The defense needs work. Like, come on, can I take last season's defense and put it in here and use it this season? That would be nice.
Yeah.
List of good offensive plays. I'd like to see that because I'm certainly looking for some offense. I haven't found it yet.
I'm looking for defense. So yeah, and yeah, just we're gonna leave it at that. So. All right. So as we're wrapping up that segment and moving on, nice little quick topic. We can just jump in there and toss that around a little bit. So that was good. But now we're going to come up to the Week 10 games, and we're going to run down this list real quick and see what the spread is and what your guys' opinion are, or what your opinions are for the games coming up. We're going to start off with the Lions going down to Atlanta to play the Falcons, and they're giving the Falcons 3.5. Mitch.
I think the Falcons will pull that off. I've yet to see Detroit put back-to-back weeks together, so I'm going to take Dean this week.
Okay, Dean.
Well, I have to be cautiously optimistic, and when I'm playing Detroit this season, again, like some of these teams, you just don't know what you're going to see. They may be very good, or they may be not as good. So it's going to be a bit unpredictable. I believe we're going to be having a Thursday night game on this one. So,
so get your bets in early. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're going to get our stuff in sometime tomorrow, and I think. I believe it's going to be a Thursday night game.
Okay, perfect. All right, next game. Redskins playing the 49ers. They are giving the 49ers, they're giving the Redskins 6.5. Dean.
Well, this is at San Francisco, and I think there'd be a lot of incentive for Charlie to win this game. And I think it's either going to be a close loss for the 49ers, or the 49ers are going to win outright. I'm picking the 49ers against the spread, but I wouldn't be surprised if Charlie's team outright wins this game at home.
Yeah, he's one of the teams that took down the Jets, so definitely it's possible. So, Mitch.
What's the forecast? That's all I want to know. What's the forecast? Because that's going to determine who wins this game, and we all know what I'm talking about there. I'm picking the Redskins to win, but the Niners to cover.
Okay. All right, next game. Giants are going into Anaheim to play the Rams, but they are giving the Giants 4.5. We're going to start with you on this one, Mitch.
Rams win this one outright. I think they'll get the Dobbs back going again, and the Giants, that roller coaster continues this week.
Okay, Dean.
Yeah, I agree with excuse me. I agree with everything that Mitch said. I think the Rams will rebound this week, and I think Joshua Dobbs will have a solid season and will put his name back into the contention for MVP of the league.
Okay. All right, next one. We have the Cardinals going up against the Packers. They're going into Green Bay to play them, and the Cardinals have a 13.5 point spread. Dean.
Yeah, I see big time upset alert here. I think the Packers are going to win this game at home. Forget the spread. I think Green Bay is just simply going to win and pull off the upset here.
Okay, Mitch.
I'm going to say Cardinals win, but Packers cover the spread. That's where I'm going with this one, Mark.
Okay, that sounds. Yeah, that 13.5 is a bit high, but yeah, I agree. I don't think this. I don't think they're going to beat the spread. Don't think so. Okay, we have the Colts going into Seattle, who is they're bleeding out right now. They are giving the Seahawks 4.5 against the Colts. Mitch.
The Colts can't stop the pass, and the Colts have the number one passer in the league over the last 5 weeks. I'm going Colts.
Okay, Dean.
I'm saying that Seahawks are going to rediscover defense here and run a balanced offense and win this game at home and cover the spread. I see Seattle winning by somewhere between 5 to 7 points.
Okay, we'll do our best not to let you down. We got you, Coach. Next game, Patriots going into New York to play the Jets. They are giving the Jets 13.5. Dean, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm going to say the magic words here. Lead pipe lock.
Uh-oh.
See, this is a lead pipe lock.
Uh-oh.
Jets are not going to, Jets are done losing. They have 3 losses. They're going to win this one. They're going to win it convincingly. The Jets are definitely going to be back on the winning track here.
Okay. All right, Mitch.
I think that Jets will win this game, but I think it's going to be much closer than the experts think. I think New England is putting some good effort into what they're doing this year. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Next one, Jaguars going into Denver to play the Broncos with a head on this week. Finally, they are giving the Broncos 7.5. Mitch, we're going to start with you.
I have no idea because it depends on if the new coach is going to keep playing the same style that's been putting Denver into these games or not. I'm going to say that he will, and I'm going to say Denver wins this game and covers.
Okay. Dean, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, I agree. I think the new coach is going to look at the situation and, go with the old concept of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and make very minimal tweaks, if any. And I think Denver will win and cover the spread.
Okay. Next game, Raiders going into Minnesota to play the Vikings. They are giving the Raiders 6.5. Dean, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a letdown at home, and I think the Raiders are going to go into Minnesota and come out of this with a win and cover the spread.
Okay, let's talk to the coach of the Raiders. What are you going to do to him, Mitch?
Have I beat anybody this year by more than 6.5 points? I don't know if I've beaten anybody in 2 years by over 6.5 points, but I think I will win this week and probably will not cover the spread because I never did.
What? So are you saying we can give you a lead pipe lock?
I'm holding my lead pipe lock for the next game.
Okay. Last game for week 10. It's the Chargers against the Saints, and that is a pick'em game. So we're going to start with Mitch on this one.
All right. Last week, I had the lead pipe lock. I had the Chargers over the Broncos, and they pulled through for me. So this week, my lead pipe lock, go ahead, take out your second mortgage. The Saints will win this game, this pick'em game at home, beats Los Angeles.
Ooh, went big on that one. Dean, do you concur or non-concur?
I said that you go to the casino and put all your money on the Chargers. Chargers are going to win.
Okay, so basically, you can go in and put money on both of them, and you'll win regardless. Okay. So, as we are coming to wrap this up, I think we pretty much covered everything out there. Again, I'd like to congratulate our new coach that's been in the league. Welcome to the league. Again, if you guys can send him an email or just put something up on the general forum, welcome him to the league. Before we wrap this up, obviously, as usual, we got to get those last words in. Any last words of wisdom over there, Dean?
Well, 2 lead pipe lost this week, and let's see how that turns out.
Okay. Mitch, you got your comments and going to take us home?
Let's get it.
Oh, wrong one.
That Lawrence Welk?
No. I don't know. It might be.